God bless you. This is a study on biblical prophecy. The lead verse comes from Amos chapter 3, verse 7. For the Lord will do nothing unless he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophets. Now God is amazingly and wondrously creative. He's able to do the impossible and the unexpected. Still, because of the greatness of his power and the greatness of his love for us, through prophecy, God seeks to warn and help and prepare his people by letting them know what is to come. Isaiah 48 verse 5 records the words of God. I declared them to you long ago. What is the them? I declared them to you. Prophecies. God presented prophecies long ago. The text reads, Before they took place, I proclaimed them to you, lest you should say, My idol has done them. I believe prophecies are given that we might grow in three key areas. Number one, we are to grow in our confidence in God. Isaiah 48 verse 5 reveals the truth that God is always in control. He's on the throne and nothing takes place without his knowledge. He declares beforehand what is to take place, that we might know that he is Lord, Lord of the past, Lord of the present, and Lord of the future. Prophecies then, at least in part, are given that we might grow in our confidence in God and grow in our love for God. You see, it is only a good and loving Father that would take time to put in motion a perfect and precise plan. You see, that's what prophecy reveals, the goodness and precise nature of the plan of God. Through prophecy, we can see that God has a plan to conquer evil and to bring his people into a good and eternal reward. Prophecies are given that we might grow in our understanding of the goodness of God. I believe prophecies are also given that we might grow in our ability to be a witness for God. You see, in the sophisticated science-based world that we live in today, it is prophecy, the unblemished, outstanding record of fulfilled Bible prophecy, that provides believers with a powerful, irrefutable witness tool. In our world today, it is not enough to say, I believe. People want to know why. And for many, it is not a compelling argument for a believer to say, I believe because Pastor so-and-so says so, or I believe because my prayer was answered. Those answers are likely to seem too subjective. The study of Bible prophecy is not subjective. It is without emotion. You can look at when the prophecy was given, where the prophecy was given, to whom it was given, and you can look and see how prophecy was perfectly fulfilled. For we who live at this point in history, Bible prophecy is an outstanding witnessing tool, because we can look back, we can see that more than 900 prophecies have been fulfilled. We can see that no Bible prophecy has been shown to be in error. We can see that the accuracy rate of biblical prophecy is unparalleled. There are about 3,000 religions in the world today, and many have sacred writings, but none can compare with the biblical record of prophetic accuracy. J. Barton Payne's Encyclopedia of Bible Prophecy notes that there are 1,239 prophecies in the Old Testament and 578 prophecies in the New Testament, for a total of 1,817 prophecies. About 27% of the 31,000 verses in the Bible have to do with prophecy. About 90% of the prophecies in the Bible have already come to pass and can be verified to be true. The other 10% are yet to be fulfilled. Many have tried to prove that a Bible prophecy has been in error, because if you can prove that there's an error in Bible prophecy, then you can show that the integrity of the Word of God has been compromised. But no one has been able to show that the biblical prophetic record has been in error. The accuracy rate is 100%. There's nothing like it in the world. Let's look at the mathematical probability of Bible prophecy being fulfilled either by chance or even through some kind of purposeful manipulation. with regard to messianic prophecies, Jesus fulfilled more than 125 specific prophecies. The probability of Jesus fulfilling just 8 prophecies picked at random is approximately 1 in 10 to the 17th power. Now, it's hard for us to wrap our minds around a number that is as large as that, 1 with 17 zeros. That's 1 in a million. This approximates the odds of blindly picking the one marked silver dollar in a sea of coins 2 feet deep in an area roughly the size of the state of Texas. Now, Jesus fulfilled about 300 general prophecies and more than 125 specific prophecies. And the probability of Jesus fulfilling just 8 is 1 in a million. The probability of Jesus fulfilling just 48 of these specific prophecies, which is less than half of the specific prophecies that he did fulfill, well, the odds of him fulfilling less than half is 1 in 10 to the 157th power. Now, that number, 10 to the 157th power, is a number so big we can scarcely begin to imagine it. But let me try to illustrate the size of that number. Consider in your mind the size of an electron. Electrons orbit atoms. Now, if you would take 25 quadrillion, and that's a real number, 25 quadrillion electrons and line them up side by side, it wouldn't even equal 1 inch. 25 quadrillion. Now, let's imagine if you would gather electrons and compress them together into a ball that was 6 feet across, and then 6 meters across, and then 6 miles across, and then it's 6,000 miles across, and you keep adding electrons, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it is 6 billion light years across. Remember, light travels at a speed of 186,000 miles per second. And this ball of electrons is 6 billion light years across. And just as a reference point, let me share that it takes about 3 minutes for light to travel 96 million miles from the sun to the earth. 3 minutes. But this ball of electrons is so large that it would take light 6 billion years to travel from one side to the other side of this ball. You take the number of electrons in that ball, and then you times it by 1 trillion. And then you times it by 1 trillion again, and then by 1 trillion again, and then by 1 trillion again. The number of electrons in that gigantic ball approximates the number 1 in 10 to the 157th power. And that's the odds of Jesus fulfilling just half of the specific messianic prophecies. A statistician would say that the probability of Jesus being able to fulfill even most of the messianic prophecies is statistically 0. And it is important to note that no messianic prophecy was left undone by Jesus. Through Bible prophecy, we are invited to know more about who God is, how God works, and what He is going to do. In Matthew chapter 23, which is a few days from the cross, Jesus referenced that the grand temple would not be there forever. In fact, soon it would be destroyed. The disciples had questions about this, and so in chapter 24, beginning in verse 3, they asked Jesus, "Tell us, when will this be, and what will be the signs of your coming and the close of this age?" Matthew chapters 24 and 25 represent a response to those questions. The material in Matthew 24 and 25 provides a foundation for the material that will be written in the book of Revelation later, and it perfectly complements the prophetic material in the Old Testament books of Ezekiel, Daniel, Isaiah, Zechariah, Malachi, and more. In Matthew 24, verse 33, we read, "When you see these things, you can know that His return, the Messiah's return, is very near, right at the door." From this verse, we see that God desires that His people would have insight regarding the timing of the things to come. In the book of Daniel, we read, "Seal up the book until the time of the end, the last days. Then knowledge shall increase." What is Daniel saying? Is he saying that in the end times there will be an increase in the understanding of science and medicine industry? No, the reference here is not to technology. The reference here is to an increase in spiritual knowledge. He's saying that in the last days there will be an increase in the understanding of biblical prophecy. Theologians today recognize that since 1948, since Israel became a sovereign and independent nation, there has been a new level of understanding of biblical prophecy. We are living in exciting and important times. Prophecies are being fulfilled. The fulfillment of these prophecies indicate that we are living in the last days and that the return of the Lord is near. Bible prophecy makes the Bible unique amongst the thousands of religious writings in the world today. The fulfillment of Bible prophecy proves that the Bible is more than just accurate. The writing is holy and inspired. The study of Bible prophecy is both interesting and important. Understanding prophecy betters our witness, helps us to know what's next, and equips us to be the watchmen that God calls us to be. In the next segment of this teaching, I will begin to profile the three primary categories of Bible prophecy, and I will note from Ezekiel chapter 4 the amazing precision of Bible prophecy.